you making a cup of tea or coffee?
It's brewing. All right. Well, it's wanting to brew. Welcome back, modifiers, to another episode on the BMW 2002 Touring Restoration Project. I'm Daniel. We're going to go through and have a look, see where we're at. We're following on from the fiberglassing of the flares and the front air dam fitment. So let's go take a look. First off, this kit was, I've already said it in the last video, and yeah, look, I may have possibly come across a little bit negative in that video, but to be honest, it's probably more the lockdown situation than the actual kit, because we can fix it, it's not a problem. It just means more time. So, but anyway, the little things on this kit is just lots of like air bubbles in the gel coat. So I'm having to go around and pop them all and fix all that. And then the other thing was the fitment around here, which we've now sorted out. So we brought out the fiberglass from the bumper. So the bumper, or the air dam, sort of stopped here, like that. And we've brought it out, matched the shape, and I'm basically going to go ahead now and grind all this up so it's fairly flat and I can get a layer of body filler on it. But as you can see, we've got a nice fitment around the flare and around the front there. And same on this side. Nice fitment around the flare. Still got to trim some of this back so the line's nice and straight. And that line will then match up with the inner part of the flare. Now, kits that actually fit, the flare stops on top of the air dam and clips in, but this just was not going to happen. This kit is just no way. It was just never going to happen. So that's where we're at. I'm guessing a lot of people have a similar situation. This kit was from England. I'm not going to say who supplied it, but yeah, pretty disappointed in the kit, but at least we can fix it. That's the main thing, so we can make it right. So basically now I've got it all up. I've got all these looking the way I want them. I'm going to grind a lot of this stuff back and flat so I can go ahead and put some body filler on and we can get that looking all smooth and continue this nice sort of gel coat look here. Yeah, let's get to it. Just a little bit more tweaking. I've gone through and sanded off the outside so it's at a point where I'm happy to put body filler on it, but I wanted to change the shape just a little bit because it did flare out a bit. So I've gone and flattened that off a lot more, which has sort of pulled it in because it was flared out. So I'll go and put another piece of fiberglass down there that's flat and then finish that. And I have to do the same to the other side because it did, when it was setting, it did flare out a little bit. So this side, you see it's gone really weak here. So I'll just put another piece of fiberglass on the inside and then the outside will be good. Then I can go ahead and put some body filler over the whole thing, get it sanded up, and just finish prepping these, get them all primed, and we can pop these away. So let's go ahead and put on some more fiberglass. Okay, just glass both sides, and just put just one piece in, a little bit of glass in the back. That will fix this problem we had there. And also I've made sure that it's hanging down so it doesn't, because before it was sort of curling out this way, whereas I want it to go straight. So they're hanging nicely. Once they're dry, I'll just trim them up and we're good to go ahead and panel this, make sure the rest of the flares are good, and then we can move on to the next thing, which is going to be the intercooler. Check this out. Bam! So we've got our intercooler. I'll put all the sizes and stuff in the description or somewhere. That's going to fit up under behind this bar here, and to do that, just let that chill there for a second. We're going to have to just move these two supports here. Almost fits in this hole as it is. So that's going to be awesome. So we get that in, get that mounted. Brackets have been drilled out. Just drilled the spot welds. There's 4 on each end. And I'll weld all those up. Hide all those holes. You'll never see them again. After a bit of messing around, well, there you go. It's going to sit higher than that because I'm actually going to go straight through the top of the panel here to bolt the top one in, and then I'll make a bracket probably off this one to bolt the bottom part of the intercooler. That's pretty, I'm pretty happy with it. That's gonna look sick. Mean. What?
I'll make it this lump smaller. It only needs to be small.
Alright. Doing some CAD design. That's cardboard aided design for making the mounts for this intercooler. So it's bolted to the top now. And that sits actually beautifully under there. Look at that. That hole's been made larger. So we just made that hole slightly bigger, and the pipe will go straight through there, so it's a much quicker run to the turbo than going out of there. If there wasn't a hole there, probably wouldn't have put one there, but since there was, we used it. And then just one pipe out through here. Here's the bracket.
That's going to go in there like that.
Oh, is it going onto the front bit?
Yeah, it's bolting onto here.
Alright.
So it bolts to the top there, and bolts to that really, that's the strongest bit there.
Yeah. And what, just to use the existing holes?
Yeah, use the existing hole. Cut a middle marker just to where the thing needs to be. Ha! Fucking lovely jubbly.
Let's have a look.
It goes in there like that. So we need some spacers. We need some spacers that size of that lump.
We've got all sorts of like little bits of tube.
Are you making a cup of tea or coffee?
It's brewing. Alright. Well, it's wanting to brew. Oh, that's not going anywhere.
Nah, that's not going to go anywhere. And we've got clearance both sides. There's clearance at the back. So.
Cool. Nice new mounts there. Bolt to the top. Pipe through there, pipe through the other side.
We'll get some nice cap screw.
Yeah.
For those. I've got some at home in the shed.
Or some mushroom head or dome
mushroom
head.
head with a Allen key.
Yeah.
Yeah. Same with these. We do the same all round.
Yeah. Sweet. Well, that's one thing ticked off. It's cool.
I've replaced that so that can be welded up. So, generally speaking, that's pretty good.
It's cool.
Right.
Well, it's another day here. It's a bit of a sad day, but I had to part with the Skyline. Didn't have to part with the Skyline, but I did because basically I bought it to do a build on it. Probably heard me say this before. I bought it to do a build on it. It was way too clean, and I just could not bring myself to stripping it and doing a forged build on it and changing it all up. Just because it was such a clean car, such a good representation of that car. So that's gone. I'll be looking at getting another, probably a 33 maybe, or a 32 coupe. May even go for a 4-door, I don't know, we'll see. But I want something that I can play with, that I can do a forged build and not feel bad about absolutely destroying the car or, you know, taking away from what it was. Yeah, anyway, so that's just a bit of an update there. So watch out for what's coming next, because it'll be quite interesting. I've already got my eye on a few different things. Some are not even rear-wheel drive. So we'll see what happens. With this whole weld issue that we're all going through as well, I'm not 100% sure how things are going to happen moving forward, as the economy sort of tightens up a little bit, but we are definitely pushing to get this thing finished, and I feel we're close. So what we've got is our intercooler in place. I've just unbolted it all, so I've got all the hardware here. I'll show you what hardware we've used and where we've bolted it. It's real basic. I'll put the dimensions of this intercooler in the description. It does fit in here, so you know, you got to wiggle it around to get it in. So we've taken out the original brackets here that went from the top to the back, which held the horns. They weren't a huge part of the structure in terms of strength, but what we've done is by attaching the intercooler to here and to the top, we've actually built in a lot more strength with the intercooler there. So just 2 holes in here. I'll show you the brackets and the hardware in a minute, and then a hole through the top where the bolt goes through, and that bolts up nice and strong. So what we've got is 2 brackets, and then just the hardware to suit. Now this hardware is only temporary. We're not going to be using this stuff moving forward. We're going to put some nice Allen key dome heads all through here instead of these sort of stainless bolts. So we'll have stainless Allen dome heads, which just look, mushroom heads. They look a lot nicer. So just a few bolts. Made some spacers because you need the spacer up behind this piece here, because there is a ridge in here. Or you could, the other option would be to have a thicker bracket and then machine out or grind out the middle so it fit. But spacers are fine, that works. Bolts onto there nice and tight. So the bolts, you should have bolts knocking about. And then just a real simple bracket that was just folded and cut out of a piece of aluminium. And we've actually tapped into this part of the bracket where it bolts onto the back of here, so you don't have to try and put a nut on the back or anything like that. You could try and do a captive nut scenario or something, or use riv nuts, but yeah, this was thick enough to put a tap in it, a thread in it, and then we just bolt that on nice and easy, and that bolts to the bottom. So I'm going to go ahead now and clean these up and give them a quick polish. I was thinking about whether or not to paint them. It's aluminium, it'll probably flake off, so I'm going to go ahead and give them a quick sand where there's rough bits from where we've been folding and stuff, and I'll give them a very light polish just so they look a bit better than they do right now. Right, we're really close to having these ready for primer. I can't express how shit these are. They just, all around here is massive air bubbles. The thing just fell apart, so had to go through and strengthen them all up, break out all the bits of air bubbles, because as soon as we paint it, if it goes on the car, those bits where it's just basically really thin bits of gel coat, with the vibrations, they just fall off, and then all of a sudden, all around the arches would have chipped, missing bits of paint. So tidied them up. I think they'll be fine now, but time will tell. And yeah, so I've just got one more little rub down to do. I've just been filling up tiny little holes. I'm gonna go get these prepped and get the front air dam prepped and just flat it back and flick some primer on these, so we can put this to one side, get that back on the stand, and then carry on with the panel on this. Well, I can't believe I'm actually saying it, but they are prepped, sanded, ready to go. I've just prep soled them, cleaned them. Let's put the camera down and let's prime some of this flare today. Well guys, I'm stoked that is done. They're gonna need a wet sand and a slight tiny bit of tidying up, but absolutely stoked that that's done. Anyway, so we've got our, as you see in the previous video, intercooler's done, flares are done. I can now go ahead and put this back on the front of the rotisserie and panel this side of the car. Oh, I'm stoked. That's awesome. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. It really helps out. If you know somebody that's into this sort of stuff, please do share with them. And we'll see you in the next video. See you later.